What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into the Fantastic Four issue number 2. While the story has been very vague so far, what we have seen is something happen to the Baxter building. A huge explosion. The Fantastic Four are not favorites right now across the country. In the last issue, what we had seen is the Thing and Alicia making their little road trip across the country. While we don't specifically know where the children are, we know that the Fantastic Four family is currently broken up. They don't hate each other or anything of that nature, but the relationships are a little bit messed up right now. This story is going to be focusing on Sue Storm and Reed Richards. Now, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into issue number 2, this story is picking up with a letter from Sue Storm to Jen, saying that she misses her, misses their girls' nights, misses all the bad movies. She simply misses hanging out with Jen. She is sure at this point that she has seen the news, but Sue Storm does say that it's not what it looks like. Or rather, it is what it looks like, but it's not what they are saying. She is writing to say that her and Reed Richards, they are currently out traversing the world. They are seeing what everything has to offer. But she also talks about Reed Richards, how he blames himself for everything. The two of them currently sitting in a diner eating some food. Reed Richards is continuously looking for an error that he made, maybe some mistake that he can justify what happened. With Sue going on to say that it is nobody's fault, that it is either all of their faults or it is not their fault. But while the two sit here and they have some food, when the waiter comes up to them, this is when things went a little bit sideways. As if almost somebody had flipped a switch, we see dozens of illusion fields drop in an instant. They find themselves completely surrounded by Doombots. These Doombots waste no time going in on Reed Richards and Sue Storm, with Reed saying that they need a little bit of space. That is when Sue creates a bubble, giving them the opportunity to breathe, to come up with an idea. While the Fantastic car may be running on gasoline these days, Reed Richards' engine can still very much generate an electromagnetic pulse, one that would be strong enough to drop all of the Doombots. And so when Reed Richards reaches out to the car, all of the Doombots start piling up on his arm, making it almost impossible for him to reach it. But as quickly as these Doombots had turned on them, we see them turn back into regular people going about their day, having a local police officer show up at the window, and everybody is blaming Sue Storm and Reed Richards for what has just transpired. The cop saying, "Why don't you guys get in the back of my car, we'll go down to the station, and we'll discuss what actually happened." As this state trooper begins to take them down the road, he knows who they are. He knows that they are the Fantastic Four. He knows that they have come on hard times. But for what it is worth, he saw the fight against Galactus. He thinks the Fantastic Four are good people, so this is what he is going to do for them. He drops them off at the edge of town and lets them know to do not go back into this town, stay away from it, go about your business, and have a good life. As the cop takes off, Sue Storm and Reed Richards, they're gonna go back. They cannot simply just stop and ignore an entire restaurant full of Doombots. Going in under the cloak of invisibility, nobody interfered with the Fantastic car. Everybody seems to be going about their business, living everyday lives, doing the day-to-day. But as they look around, they see the illusion field dropping and coming back on. Not really sure exactly what is going on until they see an old woman on her little rascal. The two of them quickly recognize that everything is centered around the old lady on the scooter. This is when Reed Richards gives us his hypothesis, saying that back at the diner, everything was fine until they learned the identity of the two of them, rearranging his face to make himself look as if he were someone else. He thinks that he might be able to go talk to this lady and figure out what is going on. As the two of them begin to have their conversation, the first thing that is asked is, does the name Victor Von Doom mean anything to you? The old lady looking at him, then she invites him back to their place, with Sue Storm remaining invisible but staying on the outside of the house. The old lady and Reed Richards have a conversation about Victor Von Doom. She knew Doom back when he was a student, an immigrant, or at least this is what she was believing at the time. Regardless, she knew that he was an individual who was struggling, and so she started offering him some kind of meals here and there. He was so focused on all his work that he would forget to eat, and soon she was feeding him every day, something that she didn't mind. When her late husband had passed, she kind of felt lonely, as if there was no one around. Helping Victor, it really did make her feel good. Victor had always said one day he was going to repay all of the kindness. Every single meal, he would make this promise, asking how Victor is these days. And without Reed going into really any detail about what Victor Von Doom is today, he says that he is remarkably effective at the chosen line of work that he goes with, introducing himself as Reed Richards. He is testing out a hypothesis, because she doesn't care that he is Reed Richards. He is assuming that she must not be a Doombot, but somehow she has been stuck in the middle of all of this. This is when in the middle of the conversation, he says that he has to take a phone call from his wife. Meeting outside, they begin discussing everything that he has learned. Victor Von Doom, he built his first robot not to take over the world, but to keep an old woman safe and happy without her ever knowing. The problem is, he probably didn't build all of these Doombots. There are hundreds of them. The possibility is that they are self-reproducing, which means these Dooms created more Dooms, programmed to protect the old lady long ago. It did this after recognizing that it wasn't going to be able to do this all by itself. Eventually, they grew in size, displacing the local residents until the whole town was made up of Doombots and this old lady. Everyone programmed to hide their true nature, to make Mary's life comfortable without her ever knowing about it. But they are still hard-coded to destroy the Fantastic Four. These are the very first Doombots that Victor Von Doom ever built. These are also the first Doombots that they have ever come across, where the primary directive is not to kill the Fantastic Four. That is only the secondary directive. So with the two of them going back inside, Reed Richards saying that his wife was in the neighborhood, and so that makes sense on why she is here. As Sue Storm goes inside, she is able to feel one of the Doombot's illusion fields. She knows that there is one here. As she gets closer to Mary the old lady, we learn that she is in fact a Doombot. Pulling off the mask, we see a skeleton of the old lady, because Mary had died many years ago. With Mary getting older, one day she got hurt. The Doombot that is programmed to protect her, it doesn't have a choice, it is facing failure. So the Doombot brings her inside of it, turning itself into a mobile hospital. But this just wasn't enough. Eventually, Mary dies anyway, and this Doombot, like Doom, refuses to ever consider defeat, does the one thing it can, and overwrites its personality with hers, forgetting itself, replacing itself, taking Mary's place. This was the ultimate way to protect her. And then the whole town It is all a performance for someone that is long dead. This is when an old lady breaks into the house. Jumping right through the window, this Doombot, learning that the old lady is deceased, the new directive is to kill the Fantastic Four. That is new directive number 1. Destroy Reed Richards. As they hightail it out of the house, they got Doombots coming from all directions, going to make a run for it, getting to the Fantastic car. Sue Storm is able to get the EMP going. There is a giant blast and all of the Doombots are dropped down. This would put them offline for a couple of hours and it gets them some time to investigate. They go to the graveyard and what they find is that it is full of Doombots. Mary would have gotten suspicious if nobody died. So to protect her, these Doombots, first pretending to be alive, now they had to start emulating death. Their eternal circuits, they had been overloaded. They really are dead. This means that there is a weak point within inside these Doombots. But he also doesn't think that they have to destroy the robots they knocked offline. He thinks that they can save them all. And so they spent the night altering each Doombot in town one by one. They removed the memories of Reed Richards and Sue Storm to kill on sight. These things are no longer Doombots. They are just bots. They leave the code that makes illusion fields to go up whenever humans are nearby. They leave the code that causes them to see themselves and each other as human when the illusions are down. They live like us, and one day they will all die like us. These machines pretended to be human for so long. Reed saw that potential first. He saw what these robots really could become, and so they let them live out their lives. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I thoroughly enjoyed this issue. I actually think it was a lot of fun. It was pretty wholesome. I mean, even Victor Von Doom has a heart. And this is a prime example of him showing that heart, repaying the kindness that was once given to him. And while the Doombots, they kind of went out and did their own thing, at the end of the day, this went pretty smoothly. And now we know that on Earth 616, in a random town in America, there is an entire city of Doombots, or an entire town. I don't think it's the size of a city, but there is a town that is full of Doombots, living day to day, doing their jobs, working, eating food, acting 100% as if they were human beings. Like I said, it's wholesome, it's a lot of fun, it's an interesting perspective, and an interesting way for them to handle the situation. They could have very easily destroyed all of the Doombots and called it a day. But instead, these robots that have been living as humans, you could say they even have been programmed to have humanity. Why not let them live out their lives, eventually all of them dying, and the world moving on? Let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get caught up on everything going on with this series, do me a favor, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is gonna get you completely caught up on everything going on with the Fantastic Four. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having 5 different tiers, from $1 to $50. From loyalty badges to getting free comics every single month. Not only does this help out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you are unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.